Well, good morning. My name is Kelly Ross, and I'm a product support analyst, and we're going to get this webinar started here this morning. The name of the webinar today is Intro to Reports for Field. And so what we're looking at here this morning is just kind of a basic review of some of the reports that have already been built into the new field software. And so what we have here is we're going to be looking at activity report, crop insurance report, seeded area report, harvest production report, stored inventory report, and we'll look at a profitability report then too. This webinar I'm thinking is going to take us maybe 15-20 minutes, somewhere around there. So just a little bit of background on the database that we're looking at right now. We're looking at a 2019 year, and so within this actual file I've created some fields. I've created 5 fields. I only had a chance to add information into 3 of these fields. And so these 3 fields will contain, well, we could just actually look at one of them. They'll contain a planting / fertilizing operation, a spraying operation, and then a harvest operation. I know there could be more options for spraying and stuff like that. I didn't want to get really busy with all the activities, so I kept them to a minimum in a sense then too. And just a few little housekeeping things. If you're able to, on your side, mute your mic so there's less feedback coming my direction. And of course, if you want to send me a chat, I'll try to answer it on the fly here. I have been known to miss them in the past, but I'll try my best to do a chat. Otherwise, there's also an opportunity at the end if you want to have a question and answer at the end then too. So, getting a little bit deeper into our activities, there's a few different ways we could view our activities. One way is on the left-hand side, and that's an activities listing here. This way here, I find a little bit more confusing in some aspects. I find here, if I'm going to be looking at my activities report here, I'm either going to do it actually specifically for an operation. Specifically, I want to see my harvest, or my plant, or my spraying. And otherwise, I'm going to actually select specifically an actual field instead of doing it for everything, because it could get a little bit busy here. So right now, for an example, right now we're looking at all our activities for field 1. And so what we're seeing here with this green bar initially kind of threw me off. But what this is it's if one activity has more than one operation to that activity. Like for an example here, what we have here is we have this planting activity. And on the planting activity, I've did 3 different types of fertilizer, and I did a seed treatment, and then my planting activity here too. So the green bar represents if there's anything extra that cannot be on one line. For an example, if we look above that at the spraying activity then too, you see it was just I just used one spray, one input, and so then that's why it's on one line. What you could also do here then too is you could also sort your date or any other type of a filter here. Anything that has a little arrow above it has the ability to then sort it, is what it then does. And also then too, you have a print option here and an export option to an Excel spreadsheet. So this would be one little area of the report. But what I actually like to look at if I'm looking at my activities, I like to go to fields. And then what I like to then do is I like to click on my actual field. So we'll go and select that same field. And then so then now this tells me here a little bit more information here then too. This will tell me, of course, my legal land location, but it gives it to me in a nice format. For some reason, this is appealing to my eyes here. I like this setup here. And so what it then tells me is it tells me my recent activities. So I'm seeing here then, of course, my planting, my spraying, my harvest, and I'm seeing my actual land location here then too. Just for simple purposes, I chose one of a land location that is 160 acres. And then on the right hand side, it would then give me a rotation then too. So this would show me past seeding activities that have taken place in this actual field. So I only have 2019 information in here, so it's just showing my 2019. If I had 2018 in here too, or if I'm building forward into the 2020 year, it would also then give me so it would give me 2020 and then 2019 information then too. And the same thing with yield here then too, and the same thing with inputs too. So I really like this actual screen here. And of course I could also edit my field here then too, and I could print this information off then too. This is what I could then do. And then if I want to look at another one, I'll go back to fields, select another field here then too. Same type of information comes up here then too, of course. So this is, I like this one here because I know it's nice big letters. It's just a different type of a format. For some reason it appeals to my eye quite a bit. And so kind of moving on from there, what we'll then look at is we could then look at underneath reports here on the left hand side. So underneath reports, this activity, the activities option here too, is the same one as we originally looked at then too. So we'll just click on that one again. It's the same report, same style, same kind of scenario. Okay. Of course, this you have the print option, and you have an export to an Excel. And then now, if we move down to the crop insurance report. So for the crop insurance report here, we tried to pull from the software what is required for a crop insurance report. So what we have here then is we have seeded area report, harvest production report, stored inventory report. So if we first of all, if we start off with our seeded area report and generate that actual report. So what we're seeing here then now is we're seeing my 3 fields and what's been grown on there, my varieties, my seeding dates, area seeded, summer fallow, and I changed it up here too a little bit, too wet to seed. Originally when I looked at this report, I was wondering, well, how do we fill this in? And so what would actually take place to get too wet to seed or to get my summer fallow acres is I would close out of here, and that's actually done through my activities. So I'd go back to my fields, and I believe it was my field number 1 if I remember correctly. And go to edit field. Actually, sorry, no, I took you to the wrong spot here. We need to go to the operation. Where am I going to here now? We need to go to that planting operation. There we go. Okay, now we're in the right spot here. So what we're seeing here then is legal land seeded area used for crop insurance reports, unseeded acres. Here's where I would then put in my 20 acres that I wasn't able to seed. Same thing would go for summer fallow in that scenario too. So this is done when you initially do your planting operation too. Otherwise, of course, you could go back and edit it just like I did for my actual to put in my too wet to seed acres. So what we're looking at here, of course, is the original screen for my actual input from my actual seed for my planting operation. So we'll cancel out of here and we'll get back to our crop insurance report. So then now moving down, we're then looking at a harvest production report. So here's some more information that's required for crop insurance for your harvest. So again, once again, it comes out with all my fields, harvested acres. So in our field number 1, we weren't able to do a full 160, we're only do 140 in that scenario. Comes out with my yield, everything applicable for the harvest production report for crop insurance. Okay, total seeded acres, total harvested acres, that kind of stuff. So we'll close here. And next we'll go down to our stored inventory report. Stored inventory report. So then now this gives me my commodities that I was able to harvest, the storage amount, and as you can see I have one of them contracted for a sale here. So we have my canola contracted for a sale. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Crop, stored amount, contracted amount. So then after our crop insurance, what we then look at then is on the left-hand side of profitability. So on a profitability report here too, this one you could look at, I like to look at it, you could look at it per field, you could look at it for everything. What we're going to do here is we'll look at it just per field and per crop then. So for field number 2, we have canola on there too, of course. And then what it then gives us is it gives me my projections. It allows me to do a projection. When it does the projection, it does grab the actual figures that are in the actual system. If I want to change my projection, I just click anywhere on this line and it allows me to change any one of these figures, which would then of course affect my profitability per acre and my field profitability. So canola is the only one that I have a sale price initially associated to. So then when I look at my year-to-date is more hard-coded. It doesn't allow you to change it. These are strictly using, it's not modifiable obviously. But if I go back to my projection, and just to show you that then too, and I do change this from 455 to, let's just say, 400 a ton. So it's at 400 a ton. If I want to go back to what it was originally set at, I'd click on the reset option here too. And once again, this report's ability, you have the ability to export it to a CSV file, which is an Excel. You have also the ability to print it out then too. Otherwise, we could look at all fields and all crops. And then our year-to-date. So then, as you can see, my other 2 commodities here, I do not have anything yet. No sale price forecasted for the other 2 commodities. So of course then what we're looking at then is we're looking at negative figures right now. But it does give me my yield, my expense per acres, that kind of stuff too. So what we're also then looking at here for the future is we're going to be including an option to capture your other costs per field, and then from capturing the other costs per field, we would then be looking at giving us a report on other costs and incorporating it into our reports. So that's coming down the pipe for the next release, which will probably be out in a month and a half, I believe, or just under that. So that kind of, in a sense, what we're looking at here summarizes our profitability report, and summarizes kind of the short little webinar that we had here on Intro to Reports. If you have any questions or anything like that, well, actually what we'll do is we'll just recap on what we went over here initially then too. So initially we went over the 2 different ways to view my, well actually 3 different ways to view my activity report. We went over the crop insurance report, the seeded area report, harvest production report, stored inventory report, I believe another one was. And then we went over profitability by field, by crop, and also then from the profitability, my projections and my year-to-date then too. If there's any questions, I'd like to open it up for questions right now. Well, if there's no questions today, then we'll close this webinar, and I'd like to thank everyone for attending it. And if you do have any other questions, or if you think of something in the future, don't be scared to contact us. You can contact us in a couple different ways here. You could email us, support@fcc.agexpert.ca, and you could also call us on our 1-800 number then too, or you could also check out our knowledge database that we're continuously growing. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar, and don't hesitate to try the reports, and also don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. Oh, there's one question here. I've been known to miss these questions sometimes. So the question is how do I use this for hand-picked crops? We are in a field. We're in field daily. Okay, so hand-picked crops. So right now, what we're looking at here for field is it is mostly based around your cereal crops, and it isn't based necessarily around. They're developing it more for produce and stuff like that. That will be coming in the future. Of course, it was in our old Field Manager Pro software. Maybe what I'll do is I'll look a little deeper into that questionnaire for you, and if I could get your phone number, I'm just going to confirm that with our development team to see where they're at, and I can actually give you a call then too. So I'm just gonna, there we go. I'll just capture this phone number down, and I will check with my development team here and see what I could give you for a concrete answer on when that area is actually coming. Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions today, then I will conclude this webinar, and I will respond to this one question that I have regarding harvest picked, our daily harvest loads, and we will go forward from there. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending, and have yourself a good day.